Good day, here are today's top stories from the Pna Headlines. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. calls on the government to institutionalize and sustain reforms to keep the Philippines out of the gray list of the Financial Action Task Force or FATF. The President led on Monday the recognition ceremony of the Presidential and National Anti-Money Laundering, Counter-Terrorism Financing, and Counter-Proliferation Financing Coordinating Committee in Malacanang. The Philippines was removed from the gray list in February this year after addressing gaps in measures on anti-money laundering, counter-terrorism, and proliferation financing. The country had been on the gray list since June 2021. The ceremony recognized 42 institutions and 232 individuals who helped improve the country's financial standing, resulting in the Philippines' FATF gray list exit. In a speech, Marcos said the exit is a testament to the country's commitment to financial integrity. The president credited this achievement to unity, strong leadership, and government-wide coordination. He also hailed the successful compliance to Memorandum Circular 37, which seeks to address the country's remaining International Cooperation Review Group Action Plan items. He also cited the coordinated efforts of government, the private sector, and the judiciary in meeting all items by October 2024. Marcos urged the government to strengthen the Philippines' financial system so that it can withstand greater challenges to the financial sector. He said staying off the gray list is now the shared responsibility of the government and the Filipino people. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. vows to implement reforms in the country's transport system following the recent tragedies at the SCTEX Tarlac Toll Gate and the Ninoy International Airport Terminal 1. In a video message posted on his official Facebook page, President Marcos expressed his condolences to the families of those who died and were injured in the recent vehicular accidents. He said the deaths of the 10 victims in Tarlac and the 2 others, including a child at NAIA, should never have happened. President Marcos said he has directed Transportation Secretary Vince Dizon to quickly identify and hold accountable those responsible. He also vowed to implement reforms that will protect commuters and travelers. These include a thorough review of the driver licensing system, a nationwide audit of bus operators, and a directive to the Department of Labor and Employment to crack down on unsafe and exploitative practices in the transport sector. The president vowed that the government would build a transport system that truly protects Filipinos. The Philippines' headline inflation fell to its lowest level in over 5 years at 1.4% in April this year. The Philippine Statistics Authority said last month's inflation was the lowest recorded since the 1.2% in November 2019. Last month's rate was lower than 3.6% recorded in April 2024. This brings the year-to-date average inflation rate to 2%, the lower end of the government's 2 to 4% target range. National statistician Dennis Mapa said the downtrend last April was due to the slower increase in the prices of food and non-alcoholic beverages. Food inflation particularly eased further to 0.7% from 2.3% in March this year and 6.3% in April 2024. Mapa said lower rice prices along with the slower inflation rates of vegetables, tubers, plantains, cooking bananas, and pulses contributed to the decrease in the inflation rate. He said the agency is closely monitoring the possible impact of the recently launched Benting Bigas Mayroon Na program, which drives down the rice price to 20 pesos per kilo. Aside from rice, MAPA reported annual declines in the indices of corn, sugar, confectionery and desserts, meat, fruits and nuts, and ready-made food and other food products. He also said the faster year-on-year decrease in the transport index at 2.1% in April from a 1.1% in March 2025 also lowered inflation. Agriculture Secretary Francisco Tiu Laurel has ordered this agency to speed up the delivery of programs supporting local farmers and fishers in the country. In a statement for the celebration of Farmers and Fisherfolk Month, Tiu Laurel directed the Department of Agriculture to aid farmers and fishers in attaining food security, accessibility, and affordability targets of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s administration. He said the programs in place include increasing the National Food Authority's buying price for palay to boost the income of local farmers. He also mentioned the modernization of NFA by establishing more warehouses and post-harvest facilities, tripling the Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund to 30 billion pesos and scaling up the Agri-Puhunan and Pantawid program and the Agriculture Credit Policy Council. Tiu Laurel said the DA is advancing the change of the cropping calendar to prevent losses due to natural calamities, procurement of farm machinery, and establishment of cold storage facilities, and adopting new technologies, among others. Meanwhile, the DA is planning 22 rice processing centers nationwide this year, plus 30 more in 2026 on top of the 150 rice processing centers since the start of the Marcos administration in June 2022. In our business news, the Department of Energy assures an uninterrupted power supply nationwide during the midterm elections on May 12. DOE Undersecretary Felix William Fuentebella said the energy sector is fully prepared to provide stable electricity and fuel from voting transmission to canvassing. He said the energy sector has mapped out priority areas and is monitoring potential power vulnerabilities, particularly in Visayas and Mindanao. They will also be on the lookout for worst-case scenarios, including natural disasters that could trigger power interruptions. The DOE leads the Energy Task Force on Elections, which works closely with the Commission on Elections and Security Forces to ensure a smooth and credible conduct of the elections. Meanwhile, the Department of Agriculture has lifted the import ban imposed on heat-treated processed pork products from South Korea. Based on the Memorandum Order 23 from Secretary Francisco Tiu Laurel Jr., Korean pork products that underwent high-level heat treatment will be allowed to be brought into the country. On April 8, the import risk analysis deemed sterilized pork products from South Korea to be safe from export after meeting the World Organization for Animal Health standards. These products were banned back in 2019 due to the spread of African swine fever. The DA expects more pork products to be available to consumers in the Philippines, which will also warm up agri-trade relations between the two countries. And that's the latest and the biggest stories on the PNA headlines. For more news updates, visit our website pna.gov.ph or our Facebook and X account, Philippine News Agency. The PNA Headlines is also streamed via the Servicio Facebook page. You may also watch the PNA Headlines through the Philippine News Agency's YouTube account and via the News and Information Bureau website under PNA News. I am Marita Muay. This is the PNA Headlines, bringing stories that unite the nation.